Hello there and welcome to Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. It's been quite a couple of months since countries such as the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Israel pledged their support to Nigeria's fight against insurgency, even though Nigerians are not expecting these countries to disclose their mode of operation. Nigerians, however, expect to see results, either in the quest to free the abducted girls or in the rate of bombings in the northern parts of the country. Our focus on the program today will be the increased level of bombings in the month of July, as well as the Victims Support Fund put in place to cater for victims of these dastardly acts. My guest is Demola Olarewaju and other Nigerians from around the world. But first, we take a look at other trending topics in the social cyberspace in the past week. Ebola. Ebola is still on the trends list as it has become the latest fear of Nigerians. The deadly virus is said to be in Nigeria, and all efforts are being put in place to ensure an outbreak doesn't occur. Korede Bello wink. Nigerians got tweeting their Korede Bello wink after Maven Records boss Don Jazzy promised to give out recharge cards to those who got it right. And of course, it doesn't hurt to wink and get a recharge card. But let's get to the business of the day and hear from our online contributors.
I have a strong feeling that there's a very high possibility that the funds wouldn't serve the purposes for which it was set up for in the first instance. So I would argue that it sounds like a very good initiative, although I question the fact that the government is asking Nigerians to contribute out of the little funds that they do have to such a venture. But we can't really do anything about that. Fine enough or fair enough, people are contributing. I do hope sincerely that the money is spent exactly for the purpose for which it is set up for. And I do also hope that it solves part of the worry isn't about food by the government. My major worry is that why are you talking about a reconstruction fund or a rehabilitation fund when you haven't even solved the crisis? If you then make attempts to start rebuilding these places that these Boko Haram guys are so much desecrated now, what gives us the impression that they are not going to strike again tomorrow? That's one. More importantly, how do you identify a victim of Boko Haram? I mean, how do you identify the victims? What mechanisms are going to be put in place towards ensuring that the money gets into the proper hands? There are certainly a whole lot of questions that needs to be asked, and one, I see secondly, a whole issue that has to do with misspend of public funds or funds or that particular fund settling because it's not faking. So the government needs to get its priority right. It needs to define exactly what purposes that money would serve. It also needs to tell Nigerians or tell the beneficiaries what you need to do to qualify to be a beneficiary of the fund. And more importantly, the government should not put before the horse. First things first. We need to stabilize that environment before we can begin to talk of rehabilitation.
I think, Muiwa raised a lot of issues, very good issues. And I think the main thing from my point of view, from most people's point of view, is I still don't think the government is sincere or they want or really want to end Boko Haram. And I don't think they really have the will, the political will to do that. Because if we can raise 58 billion in a day or in a few days, it's clear that money really is not our problem in ending Boko Haram. The president went to the House and said he wanted $1 billion to end the insurgency. And if he has raised roughly about 40% of that money in a day or two within Nigeria, so why are you going to get a loan to stop the insurgency? And as Muiwa said, you're getting a loan, so you're trying to raise money to help the victims, but then you still have these insurgents that you haven't stopped. So you're firefighting something that really you haven't stopped the underlying issues, but then you're going on to. But anyway, I still think the government is insincere, and the most important thing is the citizens themselves. Because I asked someone to raise a poll the other day, and it seems like the government, if they really want to end Boko Haram, you need the citizens to be involved in any Boko Haram.
Yeah, since the international community did come in to say they are going to support. There have still been lots of bombings, and I'm still wondering why after a lot of statements that were issued that they know where the girls are, or some people said that there was a negotiator negotiating on behalf of the government and the people, the terrorists, that they were going to release the girls soon. Even the special assistant of the president came on air and said that they know that we know where the girls are and they will be released soon. So and it has not happened. That is over how many months now? So I don't think that there is anything. What I would say is that perhaps this international committee, they have come in and they have seen the way things are on ground, and they are not completely satisfied or not able to make any swift changes. We beat our chest about things and then that we are able to achieve something, but I don't see any tangible results. Look at what is happening. They have changed the style of bombing now. They are using girls, and the female bombers now are now going on rampage everywhere. So I think that our effort in curbing terrorism has really been slow and shadowed by a lot of interest, personal and political interest. The thing is, how can we or how can they use whatever that has been raised to really see how to help this region? Uh, I did say a few weeks back that now that the bombings are happening in the north, nobody is thinking strategically what is going to be the next move. But nobody is thinking about how are these people thinking, how are they actually going to react. They say that we should support the government. Yes, we support the government. There is a campaign every day on channels television about how Americans stood behind the president, how Britain stood behind their prime minister, and how if we making some people making inflammatory statements. That is a problem with our country, that they are still pushing out this campaign that because somebody said something in 2011 that there's going to be blood. That is why we have terrorists in this country sending the wrong message and not doing anything to actually curb the thinking about getting the loan and using it to, equip yourself. It is, what are the strategies? How are you going to ensure that everything that you plan would actually come in place? And that is the thing that is holding us in actually fighting this issue, because we are not thinking ahead of the people who we are supposed to be fighting. We're just 2, 3 steps behind them, and it is not helping.
Like I said, 2015 is in sight. They are spending more time blaming the opposition, trying to link it to. I think Buhari almost got killed by a bomb, and then you saw some people were still saying that he was the one that planned it, or he tried to. I don't know. It's some silly stuff that you really shouldn't be hearing from people who claim to be to understand what's going on. But anyway, I think the government is not sincere enough. And I think if they really want to do this, they seriously need to make Boko Haram a Nigerian problem. As it is, lots of people, mostly down south of the river Niger, still think Boko Haram is a problem for the north and the northeast. But it's coming down south. It's coming down south, and it's engulfing the whole nation. The government needs to make this Boko Haram issue the Nigerian issue. Let or get the trust of the citizens. The poll that I was talking earlier on, that will people be confident enough to report anything to the security forces? About 75% of those that responded were like, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going," because if you do go and report or you saw this, you're going to be taken in custody, and you'll be taken as a suspect instead of. You saw what happened to Siaksin, and it was held for 12 days without anything. And these are the sort of things that the security agents have been doing that do not give confidence in the citizens to report anything to them anyway. So that trust is not there. That's the reality of it. If you claim that the APC or whoever is behind Boko Haram, why haven't you not prosecuted them up to this point in time? And it's just, I think it's they are playing they're running on the back of the illiteracy of Nigerians, and they'll just believe anything will tell them anyway. And that's why, and you see what's been going on, that people, there's poverty everywhere. People don't really care what the government tell them they take. They give them rice or fufu or whatever it is when election comes, and that's the whole cycle. But the government needs to do more. They need to make us feel confident. They need to make the citizens feel that we're doing this. And then all this money that they've been throwing around in the past few years, that they've allocated trillions and trillions of naira to fight terror, Boko Haram. You haven't seen anything come out of this. No one can really say, okay, we spent X amount on this, and this is what we got from X amount of this.
Religious expansion itself has to do with the Boko Haram guys in the northern oligarchy, in terms of the sultanate and everybody who used to be a spokesperson or a frontman in the north. If the northern leaders are not doing anything to educate their youths, to tell people exactly what the Quran says about peace and harmony, to tell people exactly what jihad means, to educate people about the fact that jihad doesn't mean you should just kill anybody at random, going to win. So government needs to be sincere before it begins to talk about it people of its citizens. It needs to tackle this issue from this end. It needs to solve the problem of corruption that so much bastardize our military and bastardize our politics also. If it doesn't do that, the soldiers will continue to run away from war front. They will continue to run away because the man who is the commanding officer wouldn't give them what their dues are. And if you don't give these boys what is due to them, they're not going to fight. They're going to fight with their lives. So that's a very, very serious issue we need to tackle. Unless we do that, or until we do that, we're not going to move forward. From a political perspective, everybody who calls the shots in Nigeria must realize that this is a Nigerian problem. And they must stop playing politics with people's lives. They must stop using terrorism as a means for campaign. They must stop using the Boko Haram phenomenon as a means of rubbishing the ruling government. They must stop using terrorism, attacking the ruling party. And the ruling party itself needs to stop the blame games. It needs to stop blaming the opposition for its problem. Everybody must put all their hands on deck, both the opposition and the ruling party. They must synergize their efforts and make sure that they tackle this issue head on. And then, more importantly, the citizens, as Carol said, need to be properly informed about why it's important for them to report suspicious movements. Unfortunately, there is very little to which the citizens can do in this regard. So one or two lives could be saved if the people also have some elements of trust in their government and in their security apparatus.
You heard them, but you can also send your thoughts on this issue using the hashtag insecurity. We'll take a break, and when we return, Demola Olariwaju will be joining us.